With the weather forecast now, you usually know a day or so ahead what's coming for weather. So it helps us to plan ahead and not be caught by surprise anymore with the radars and stuff. You know what's coming. And usually the forecast is, I know people probably would disagree with me, but it's usually pretty accurate to a degree. But snow is snow, whether it's an inch or whether it's 6, the work from our end of it is the same a lot. So going into that, a driver will prepare himself by getting his unit ready, whether it's a truck or a loader, and they'll go from one end to the other, start by checking all the fluids to make sure all the fluids are up to snuff. Maybe just giving it a good visual, looking for oil leaks or maybe a leaky, something that maybe a mechanic we can do something quick to avoid a bigger problem down the road. So they'll go from the truck from one end to the other, check the oil, check the fluids, and then once they get through the fluids, they inspect the tires, kind of look at the plow, look at the snow removal equipment, and then we move into checking your lights and your mirrors and just making sure the unit's ready from one end to the other, that it's safe. And not only for our perspective, but for you as a person on the street, that you can see us, that our lights are working. So we want you to see us, so we allow us to have the space.
Here, this sander is ready to go, but it's adjustable, so you can slow it down or speed it up, the auger, so you can put a lot of sand down or just drop a little bit, because certain areas you'll need a lot more sand than other areas, and you can spread it out over 2, 3 lanes, 4 lanes sometimes if you have it spinning real fast. If you're putting salt down and you want to put it on real thin, because salt, just pure salt, will break it up a lot better and quicker. So that's kind of nice to have the adjustments there. All right, lifting the box. He's going to lift it up, and you can see the sand in there. And what happens is you run out of sand in your auger here, and you got to lift it up to get the sand to slide down, just like it's coming right there. And then you let the box back down. And I like to have it about right there, sometimes all the way down. But if you have it up too high, you'll hit power lines. We have a bridge in town where if you get too high under that bridge, you'll tear the box off the truck, and that's over on Benson Avenue. That's a hazardous area for boxes being in the air. And the wires are, a lot of them are buried in the ground now, so they're getting better at putting them underground. But a lot of them are out there yet where these boxes will catch the wires. Cable wires are a lot lower than a lot of the big power lines, but we'll sure catch them if we don't watch out for them. And that sand fell back to come back into the auger here. So you got to lift that box every now and then to get the sand to the back of the box, because you don't want to be driving down the road and have no sand come out when you need it. So you're always watching that with watching the road and everything else. So
The skill set that a driver would hold is it's more or less becomes a lot of on-the-job training, learning how each piece of equipment in itself is just a little bit different. Not everything, we try to keep everything really uniform, but the way things change, it's not always that way.
all right, if it was nighttime, we'd hit the lights on. We'd put the plow lights on. Okay, then I have a light for my wing here. I have a light for my sander back there, the spreader. So I want both of them on, and here's a differential lock when it gets to be heavy snow or real slippery. Okay, back here, this is the spreader switch. This is the strobe lights. I got 2 sets, one on the wing and one on the truck. This is the tailgate lock, which I want it locked. This is the hoist for the box. This is the front plow. This is the sander button. You hit that button. This is the sander button. It's called the blast button. It'll run for about 5 seconds and then it'll quit automatically. This is the one to run the wing, to drop the wing up and down. This is the belly blade down, this is up, this is to push the wing out, and this is to bring it back in. This whole panel adjusts to the driver where he likes it. Then here we have a sander display telling where we're at for the spinner right now, and it's just to see what operating level you're on the sander. Right here is the backup camera, so I can see I'm going to let my wing down here. I can watch it, see where it's at. I can see cars behind me. I can see pedestrians walking along the sidewalk or in the road or wherever they might be. So that's a really plus. I really like that, especially for the vision, because the mirrors are nice, but there's nothing like this camera.
So along with that skill set comes the experience in running that piece of machine, being familiar with that piece of machinery. But now you hang on all this metal as far as a snowplow and a wing, and then you put 8 tons of sand in the back end of it, and then incorporate the conditions that you're out in, and then put traffic, parked cars, garbage cans, dumpsters, pedestrians, pets. So the driver really has to be alert and be on top of their game and be paying attention all the time to what's going on.
You have to go around mailboxes, watch for them, your garbage cans, parked cars. You have multiple mirrors. We have 2 mirrors here and up in the front. So you have a lot of blind spots. When I go through an intersection, I usually look at least 3 times, sometimes more. Depends on how heavy the traffic is. But I usually like to look 3 times when I stop. And sometimes I can't stop completely because I have a full load of snow with my wings and plows down. So if I stopped, I would not be able to get going again pushing that much snow. So a lot of times when it's a real heavy snow, I have to admit I can't stop. I have to slowly go through the stop sign and be very careful and look both ways or all ways several times.
Not only driving the vehicle and the weather conditions that you're in, you've got traffic, pedestrians, and the stuff we talked about earlier, but inside of that cab, you're watching your sander to make sure that that sand is going on. Maybe that your wing is riding fine, your snowplow is riding fine. Sometimes that wing will kick up on you and you have to make sure that that's set down. You're watching your gauges on your piece of equipment. If it's getting overheating or what, that's important to get that shut down if we have a mechanical issue. And so there's a lot going on there. You have to dial in your speed on your sander to make sure you're putting down the proper amount of material. And then if as you're going, you might have to raise that box to get more material to the back end of the truck. And so that's why it's important to be alert when you're doing that job. And that's most of the guys know that if we have something coming in, they'll allow themselves maybe a little extra time at the day before to get some rest and know that they got a big day ahead of them.
One thing you got to watch for here now when you get in these side roads is some of these manholes through the winter, they start showing up and you hit them and you can wreck your plow, cutting edge, do a lot of damage.
Put a stop for a second, Mike.
You got cars along here now. You want to watch for people getting out of their cars, in and out, doors open up, you got the wing out. So I like to stay far enough away. If somebody did open their door, you're not going to catch it, but you still got to watch for people walking out in front of their cars. I've learned when you're plowing is you got to take your time and you can't be in a hurry. When you get in a hurry, that's when bad things happen. You either hit something or cars don't see you or something like that. If we had, like here you can see the catch basins, you get 4, 6, 12 inches of snow. Sometimes you don't know where the curb is and you're running into the curb, and that's where experience helps, where you kind of know where the roads are just over the years. But the best training is experience, and you just go out and take your time and go slow. And as you catch on, you'll speed up a little bit. But It's a very cautious job. You have to be very cautious at all times. People walking out from behind cars, it's a little more than driving a car because you're driving a many ton unit, and it's not always that easy to stop. This is our end of the road here, right up here. We turn around and come back.